I would like to thank Sri Suranjan Gupta, the Executive Director of EEPC India, for his invitation to deliver this address on the occasion of the virtual exhibition India Pumps and Valves Expo 2021. As we are all aware, the EEPC India represents over 13,000 members from the large, medium, and small scale segments, and for decades has been doing a great job promoting exports from India. I'm very happy that it has taken this initiative to have a virtual exhibition for the first time for this sector. The MSMEs are the backbone of our economy and are also responsible for running the engine of the economy. According to the recent India Brand Equity Foundation report, India has approximately 63 million MSMEs. Overall, this sector generates employment for more than 100 million people. Thus, in our country, wherein the primary occupation is agriculture, MSMEs virtually become the second biggest employment sector. Given their reach, the role they play in the rural economy is also very critical, as is the fact that more than half of them operate in rural India. MSMEs contribute to about 29% of our GDP through their national and international trade. They're also crucial in driving India's emergence as a global manufacturing alternative to China. And the sector contributes close to 40% of our country's overall exports. The Union Budget 2021 therefore has rightly earmarked an allocation of Rs 15,700 crores for the Ministry of Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, more than double that of last year. The effect of COVID-19 is still not over, and while we have seen our economy recovering, this revival cannot take place without the revival of the MSMEs. It is because of the crucial role they play in almost all sectors of the economy, be it component or product supply, sales, packaging, marketing, distribution. MSMEs directly or indirectly support a very large number of medium and large businesses. It will not be wrong to say that the growth of the medium and large industries in many ways is driven by their MSME partners. Being head of India's first and largest pump manufacturing multinational company, I certainly guarantee that this is the case for Kirloskar Brothers Limited. Of course, Kirloskar Brothers Limited, or KBL in short, also began as a micro enterprise. With a legacy extending over a century, we've had a very humble beginning with my great-grandfather Lakshman Rao Kirloskar and his elder brother Ramu Anna starting their business enterprise in the form of a bicycle repair shop in 1888. The first step towards realizing their dream of establishing one of India's first industrial townships was laid in a small factory shed in Kirloskarwadi. The same factory over the years pioneered an industrial and agricultural revolution with the introduction of various engineering products for the first time in the country. Products like hand pumps, sugarcane crushers, peanut shellers, centrifugal pumps, petrol, kerosene, and diesel engines, machine tools, electric motors, and air compressors were first manufactured in India at our Kirloskarwadi factory. These achievements and the transition from a small enterprise to a multinational conglomerate is a testament to the strong passion and conviction that our founder had in the capabilities of individuals and small enterprises and the inevitable role that they can play in driving the growth and progress of the country. KBL began exporting hand pumps and sugarcane crushers through British and Dutch trading companies in the early 1930s. In 1985, when I was made the managing director, I wanted to learn about the company's history in greater detail, and I'd asked for all the annual reports. I realized that there had been a period in the mid-1930s when the company had skipped paying a dividend to its shareholders for 2 or 3 years. I asked my father what the reasons for this could be. He told me the story of how my grandfather, S.L. Kirloskar, popularly called SLK, had recalled some crushers from East Africa because of a manufacturing defect. the company had rectified the products and re exported them to Africa, incurring a huge loss. SLK maintained the Kirloskar reputation for quality and reliability throughout his life through such actions. After World War II, SLK came to Pune from Kirloskar Wadi because Kirloskar Brothers Limited had divested its oil engine business in favor of a new company called Kirloskar Oil Engines. In those days of shortages, one needed to get a license for import as well as export. In 1955, he asked the government of India for an export license to sell diesel engines to Germany. The people concerned thought he was confused and told him what he wanted to do was import engines. They sent him import application forms instead. Once the misunderstanding in Delhi was cleared, he was able to supply many engines to developed markets, raising the reputation of Indian manufacturing in Europe. SLK, who incidentally was chairman of the EPC between 1957 to 59, believed that businesses needed to expand into diverse markets in order to survive the inevitable business cycles. He encouraged all group companies to sell their products to foreign markets. Kirloskar Brothers and other group companies continued to export from India all through the 1950s to 1970s, though these exports were to parts of the developing world, countries in Africa, Latin America, and Southeast Asia. Our products were extremely popular in Egypt, Malaysia, and pre-revolutionary Iran. The group's acquisition of F.H. Schuler, a rice milling machinery manufacturer in Germany in 1966, was probably one of the first acquisitions of a Western company by an Indian entity. This was followed up by group companies setting up manufacturing companies in Kenya, Malaysia, the Philippines, and Mauritius. Unfortunately, most of these ventures were short-lived due to the fact that the strict foreign exchange regime of that time did not permit quick financial support from India as soon as it was required. Eventually, almost all but the one in Kenya shut down by the mid-1980s. Kirloskar Brothers exports really picked up after the Bangladesh War in 1971. In 1972, the United Nations was trying to help the devastated new nation by supporting its agricultural base and issued tenders for a large number of pump sets. KBL won these orders against global competition, leading to one of our British competitors deciding to find vendors in Southeast Asia in order to remain competitive. Fortunately, in those days, there were hopping flights, and John Nutt, their chairman, landed up in Mumbai with time to spare before his next flight to Singapore. Taking a chance, he telephoned SLK to check whether he could see the Kirloskar Wadi factory. He was flown there from Mumbai the next morning. That evening, on his return to Mumbai, he happily told SLK that he had found what he was looking for and was returning to Britain instead. That British company was Sigmund Pulsometer Pumps Limited, popularly called SPP, and well reputed in the British Commonwealth. SLK and John Nutt signed a very short agreement, depending on each other's word rather than those of lawyers. In short, a gentleman's agreement. This agreement lasted for 30 years until KBL bought SPP Pumps Limited in 2003. To be precise, this was an outsourcing agreement. SPP moved its production for certain ranges from the UK to India, handing over designs, drawings, and processes. The idea was simple: manufacture in one location to keep costs down for world markets. SPP kept the North American, Australian, and Western European markets for itself, drawing the line at the Iron Curtain. KBL got exclusive rights to the Indian subcontinent and those countries where our group had a presence. The rest of the world was free for either company to sell to. In 1981, one of SPP's agents, Rato, which later became part of Alstom, an exclusive pump manufacturer for the French nuclear program, approached us to jointly design a new range of water pumps for global markets. Over the years, these pumps became extremely popular in India, Southeast Asia, Hong Kong, through which they entered China, and Europe. One variant of these pumps now holds the global patent for firefighting in super high rise buildings around the world. Not to be left behind, in 1985, SPP similarly came back to KBL for joint design and manufacturing in Kirloskarvadi for a different range of pumps meant especially for the US market. Later, from this range, together with SPP, KBL developed its lowest life cycle cost series to meet the new environmental requirements. KBL gained immensely through such collaboration with global leaders. While at that time it had restricted access to global markets, jointly designing products for the world gave a great experience and huge confidence to our engineers as well as salesmen. KBL could get access to the latest software, and its engineers could learn from some of the world's best hydraulic experts. They could understand Western requirements, the different industrial standards, and most importantly, the regional or national preferences and nuances. Most importantly, KBL sold products in the Indian market which were better than its competitors of foreign origin, who were still using decades-old designs from their parents. Of course, all of this rubbed off on our other products designed for the local market, ensuring that these products also could be exported across the world. Most of KBL's products sold today meet the efficiency standards of Europe and America, wherever applicable, and having R&D facilities in India as well as Britain and Netherlands gives us a view of what will come next. Of course, we have to expect a huge paradigm shift in the next few years. New technologies are being developed and applied rapidly, quickly changing business models and therefore company strategies. New technologies like additive manufacturing, artificial intelligence are taking the world by storm, as are augmented reality and virtual reality. As a global company, we believe that we have no choice but to adopt and implement these technologies appropriately. Having bought a large 3D printer in 2014, we've been using it to print large molds, initially for development and then for low volume requirements of large new pumps. Artificial intelligence has been used to bank our historic knowledge when it came to product data, product selection, product behavior in different circumstances, and when handling different liquids and ensuring that historic warranty costs are not repeated. The system is designed to be self-learning with the ability to automatically access historic or learned information based on the query posed by the sales team. The objective to invest in VR was to have virtual training of our people with certain skills before they come into our plants to continue their training. Finally, the augmented reality platforms were developed by KBL to bank domain knowledge from our service engineers. To operate as a global player, what we have learned is that one is considered a serious player if you stick to your word, deliver what you promised, or even better, more than you promised. There is no point in having one-off customers. Customers must be repeat customers, those who constantly come back to you because they like dealing with you. Give bad news even when you know your customer will be upset. Usually, he is happy that you told him in time so he can make alternative arrangements if possible. Adopt and fully implement the appropriate latest technologies because they ensure that your products and services will have the lowest cost. And most importantly, be responsible for your products and be there for your customer when he needs your support. That is why our repeat overseas customers include global EPC players from the US, Western Europe, Japan, and South Korea. water companies and municipalities in Europe, Africa, and Southeast Asia, and many chemical, construction, metallurgical, petrochemical, pharmaceutical, plantation, steel, sugar, and other types of industries in more than 130 countries. It's also allowed us to become an Indian multinational corporation. KBL has manufacturing and assembly facilities in the Netherlands, South Africa, Thailand, United Kingdom, and the United States. Our decades-long experience in dealing with different nationalities has also ensured that we manage the over 700 people overseas with just 12 Indian expatriates. Therefore, a journey over the last 130 plus years is also a testimony to the significance of the micro, small, and medium enterprises in making India self-reliant. The support of our subcontractors, our suppliers, distributors, and retailers across all our manufacturing plants is extremely important in ensuring the delivery of all these products, be it the delivery of a small pump to a farmer in rural Cambodia, or the execution of a large irrigation project in Senegal, Spain, or Laos, a supply of pumps to the world's largest nuclear fusion reactor in France, Europe's tallest skyscraper, or the world's longest tunnel at Marmara, Turkey. Oil and gas refineries and power plants in West Asia, Southeast Asia, Western Europe, and North and South America are power plants in the US, Western Europe. It would not have been possible without the support of our supply chain, many of whom are MSMEs. It is the support given by them which not only helps us in national projects, but also international projects like in Angola, Cambodia, Egypt, Laos, and Vietnam, where our pumps helped achieve food sufficiency by transforming their irrigation deficient, barren farmlands into adequately irrigated, fertile farmlands. As per the Indian MSME report released by the Indian Brand Equity Foundation in November 2020, the number of registered MSMEs in the country grew by over 18% year on year over 2019. In such a competitive market, which is already dominated by large players, I am confident that MSMEs will have the skills to adapt themselves to a changing market. All of us hope that the ongoing COVID situation is a temporary barrier, and it is just a matter of time that normalcy resumes, especially after the introduction of vaccines in the country. Many trade pundits believe that the current century belongs to India, and India is anticipated to be amongst the fastest growing economies in the world in the coming decades. Our government is taking all the steps possible to realize the dream of an Atmanirbhar Bharat and envisions India as a global economic powerhouse. Support provided by our government, encouraging MSMEs through various schemes and incentives, will be good for industry in the long term. I am happy to see that our government is focusing on increasing the competitiveness of MSMEs. In addition, government has also mandated public sector companies to get their requirements fulfilled as much as possible by MSMEs. So opportunities for and dependencies on the MSMEs are anticipated to increase more than ever before. Today, on this occasion, I'd like to state that while we take pride in being India's leading pump manufacturer, we take equal pride and are grateful to our MSME partners and associates for their integral support in making it happen. Once again, my sincere thanks to the EEPC India and its Executive Director, Mr. Suranjan Gupta, for inviting me to deliver this address. Thank you very much.